Start with that.
Patrick Kehoe. I did some last-minute editing when you made that statement, by the way. I thought I'd have some flexibility, but bear with me. In fact, if I stick to my script, I could probably make it, so I apologize if I have to read a little quick. Tonight I speak not only on behalf of myself, but for what I would estimate to be a majority in our community who feel we not only need, but deserve and would greatly benefit from a new library. We don't want just any library. We want a first-class facility. We don't want it out in Westridge. We want it downtown. But most importantly, many of us want it without delay or without destroying time-honored traditions such as our farmers market. Many of us, myself included, feel as well that the Downtown Heritage Initiative has been and will continue to be instrumental in the success of this area, and the needless consumption of open space at Market Square will as well forever eliminate the possibility of leveraging this area as a catalyst for downtown revitalization through the location of events and venues to draw people into the downtown core to the benefit of both the merchants and the community alike. First, let me address my motivation. Why am I so outspoken on this issue? Perhaps I'm just a troublemaker and lack other things to occupy my time, or perhaps maybe I just give a damn. I was born here, and when I was raised here, Aurelia was a much different place. I left and for 25 years resided elsewhere. When I returned, things had changed, and not necessarily for the better. Now, I could be one of those who may sit back, write the odd letter, whine and complain, and ultimately accept whatever happens, or I could step forward and try to make a difference, which is what brings me here repeatedly. I speak for those who value our traditions and respect our history. I speak for those who came before and who no longer have a voice. I speak for those who many years ago sacrificed everything in an effort to build this community, and those same who would be ashamed that we now act with such careless disregard for all they have accomplished. I came here tonight prepared to address the very flawed report on the Wilco building as submitted by the library team to Council Committee. Now, I can go through this report and essentially point by point critique it, but you've already received my written response. A response, incidentally, that together with a third-party architect's report who had visited the site on December 3rd and who had also reported the results of a Phase 1 environmental assessment that took place since, refuting some of the claims made by this team, were not made available until after committee had met and reaffirmed their Market Square motion. Perhaps Council should consider investigating to see what went wrong, why relative information received prior to a meeting was not presented. I do not believe as well that the respected Mr. Jewett even authored the majority of this report. I don't believe him to be that careless. This process has demonstrated it is anything but credible. However, it seems at the same time I am now indebted to the library team, especially where the legality of the covenant is concerned. It seems they have given me the smoking gun I needed. In the report, instead of delivering a legal opinion as Council had instructed, they instead attempted to interpret a 2003 opinion. An opinion that referred to the covenant as too vague to be enforceable, and even if it did constitute a restriction, it only applied to a small portion of the market block. This opinion, unfortunately, was rendered without benefit of the Council minutes of the day, which specifically states that what the intent of the endowment was and detailed specifically its location. And incidentally, its size was 21,780 square feet, or 31% of the market block area. Further, legal counsel recommend transferring the title from the city to itself and registering the deed, thereby converting the title from registry to the land title system. And that since this deed is the only transaction within the 40-year title search, the city has clear title. Perhaps the city could have argued this if the city had not just admitted by way of this report that it knew about the covenant before the title search and the subsequent conversion. The document is now court-admissible evidence that it did knowingly use the conversion in an attempt to clear title. The conversion process is only procedural as a means to automate the registry. There is little to no chance that any court would ever side with the city on conversion being a method to effectively remove covenants they knew about in advance. Of course, both the city and myself recognize that in the end, legal opinions are just that, opinions. Until such time as somebody steps forward to actually challenge the covenant, its outcome cannot be predicted. I would suggest, though, especially in light of the aforementioned, as well as the minutes of the Town Council today, that support this fact, it heavily favors the legitimacy of the covenant. Now, what are the risks to the city? What if we go ahead and we construct a library and it adversely affects the market, even for 2 years when it is temporarily moved? What if the area the market returns to is significantly less than that contemplated in the covenant? What happens if the heir or assigned to Mr. Goldwin Smith steps forward to challenge? After all, this issue is all over Google and other internet search engines. By its very interpretation, this portion deeded for the formation of the Market Square as well as all of Victoria Park would revert to the claimant. In addition, this individual would also inherit 174 feet of Mississauga Street from Andrew east towards West Street. As
2 minutes, sir.
Gift of land was given. 2 minutes? Jump. Okay, I have to admit I grow weary of this battle. However, given last week's theatrics, perhaps it's time for the gloves to come off. Next week, I will be taking a little trip to a town by the name of Ithaca, New York. For those who don't know Ithaca, it is located in south central New York State and is also the home of prestigious Ivy League Cornell University. Let me tell you a little bit about Cornell. It was created in 1865 by a land grant by Ezra Cornell. Consists of 14 colleges and approximately 20,000 undergraduate and graduate students. It is also the home of Cornell Law with an endowment that is estimated at $5.39 billion and considered one of the top 10 schools on the planet. I apologize for this little digression, but you see my trip to Ithaca is related to this issue. You see, I have found Goldwin Smith's heir in a sign. I have found the person who would be the one that potentially one day may step forward and lay claim to all the property I've listed. And the strangest thing of all is that this person isn't even a person. It seems Mr. Goldwin Smith, when he died on June 7, 1910, left his entire fortune, writings, and lectures all to Cornell University, that same $5.39 billion endowed institution I spoke of earlier. It seems in early discussions with the people at Cornell that they have taken quite an interest to the goings-on in our fair town. It seems as well that as the beneficiary of Goldwin Smith, a very admired and revered professor of the university in the 1860s, they have what is known as an ethical and moral responsibility to defend the interests and wishes of their benefactor. There is also ironies at play. Goldwin Smith is credited with the quote, "Above all nations is humanity," an inscription that was engraved in a stone bench he offered to Cornell in May 1871. It now sits in front of Goldwin Smith Hall, the main building in this nearly 1,000-acre institution.
30 seconds, sir. I'll ask you to wrap up.
Okay. Again, that's, gentlemen, once again, we want a library, not just any library, but a downtown first-class facility, and the list have just been reduced to 2. Again, we can build new at Aurelia Central, or we can create a unique facility at the Wilco building. Your choice entirely, but let's get on with building it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kehoe. If someone wanted to get a copy of your remarks, how would they do so?
I'll email a copy to you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Great.
Motion to adjourn. Councillor Lauer.